Well, hello there guys and welcome. I'm Ian Young and thanks for tuning in for another episode. This week we are making a Chinese Philly cheesesteak sandwich. So it only takes about 5 or 6 ingredients, so let's come on in here and let's see what we've got this week. Alright, number one, we're going to want a nice chunk of beef that we're going to slice into strips here, some red meat. I'm going to take 1 red onion, 1 green pepper, some cheese, and this is called Shou Zhua Bing, which is a Chinese kind of flatbread that we're going to use in place of a normal bread for our Philly cheesesteak sandwich. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to slice our green peppers, and then we're also going to slice our onions. I've sliced all my vegetables and I've moved them off to a plate here on the side, and now it's time to slice our beef. I'm going to take this chunk of beef and I'm going to slice it into strips. So I'll cut it into half to make this piece more manageable, and I'm just going to cut it into very thin strips like that, as thin as I can get it. Something like that. Okay, now it's time to add our red onions and our green peppers. We're going to stir that up to coat it in oil. And we're going to let these cook for 2 or 3 minutes before we even think about adding the meat. Okay, so as you can see, our onions and green peppers have been cooking for about 3 minutes and the onions are starting to caramelize. Now, we're going to add our beef. So let's take it all here and let's just add that straight in there. Okay, and now you're going to repeat that process. You're going to mix that all around, get that beef immersed in those onions and green peppers. And you're going to cook for about 3 to 5 minutes. I'm sorry, at least 5 minutes. Get all that beef cooked before we add our cheese. Our beef and peppers and onions have been cooking for about 3 minutes, and you can still see the beef is kind of pink. At this point, I want to add just a pinch or 2 of salt. Now I'm going to stir it and continue cooking for a few more minutes before I add my cheese. Fully cooked now, along with the onions and the peppers, and now we're going to add a little bit of cheese. I'm going to add some cheddar cheese here. I don't have provolone, which is the standard for Philly cheesesteak sandwiches, but we're in China and we're going to make do with what we have. So here we go. Let's add some cheddar cheese. What I like to do is I like to spread the pan in half, right, for each sandwich, and then I like to add the cheese on top, on each side. And I want that cheese to melt real nice, so now I'm going to cover it. I'm going to take that heat off and just cover it, and that cheese is going to melt. Okay, so now it's time to cook our Shou Zhua Bing, and here we go. As you can see, it's a spicy Shou Zhua Bing. Looks like there's some red peppers in it. Alright, let's open it up and let's start cooking it. I got this pan heating up on about medium heat here. You don't need to add any oil because there's already oil inside these. As you can see, they're just basically dough that needs to be cooked. So let's go ahead and grab one here and remove those plastic wrappings. And just place it in the pan like this. Okay. We're going to cook that for a couple minutes, and then when it starts to puff up, we're going to flip it. You see it's turning nice and golden brown, and now it's been cooking for about 2 minutes. Now let's give it a flip. And now let's give it about 2 more minutes on that side, and hopefully it'll start to puff up a little more, and then we can add the meat. Okay, as you can see, that Shou Zhua Bing is nice and golden brown in the middle here, so that means it's pretty much done. So let's go ahead and move it on over to our plate over here. Okay, and now it's time to build our Chinese Philly cheesesteak sandwich. So here is that beef and the onions and everything that we cooked earlier, as you can see. And now let's go ahead and take a spatula and try and keep that cheese on top there. Oh yeah, beautiful. And there it is, folks. Our Chinese Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Let's have a taste test. There it is, our Chinese Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Let's have a taste test. Here we go. Oh my god. That is really, really good, guys. The Shou Zhua Bing is like nice and flaky and crusty, kind of like a pastry. And to be honest, I think it tastes way better than bread. And this is great. Maybe one more bite. It's really great. It's nice and cheesy. You got a little bit of spice coming from the red peppers in the Shou Zhua Bing. And the vegetables are cooked just perfectly. They're not overcooked. Probably cooked for about 8 minutes total, something like that on the vegetables. But they're not like mushy at all, and the texture is really nice, and they're still a little bit crunchy. This is a winner, guys, I promise you. You guys should definitely give it a whirl. I really hope you try it. And without further ado, I'm Ian Young, and I'll see you guys next week. This is the Chinese Philly cheesesteak sandwich.